Tens of millions of NFL fans will watch games each week during the season. During each game, the league's world-class athletes will conduct themselves in a way that honors the sport, respects the game, other players, their fans, and the league. Every once in a while, a player's actions might not live up to the league's expectations and policies. The action on the field is not only controlled by the rules of play, but by a code of conduct established by the league and the NFL Players Association. It's the job of the compliance officers to make sure that they adhere to this code of conduct during every 332 preseason, regular season, and playoff games. The compliance team helps to fulfill the NFL's responsibility to players, officials, and business partners, as well as young fans and their parents. It is not designed to take the fun out of the game or to raise money for the league. The fines collected do not go to the NFL, but instead go to programs for former players. Before each season, players will sign a form acknowledging that they understand the code of conduct, violations, and fines. The league gives players every opportunity to avoid a fine. The NFL and the compliance department apply these rules to every 32 teams fairly. Every year, players and teams are also given the opportunity to provide feedback. NFL suspensions are given for a variety of reasons. For example, substance abuse, domestic violence, or sexual assault and harassment. Some notable suspensions over the past couple of years are David Irving, a Dallas Cowboys defensive lineman, suspended indefinitely for violating the league's policy and program for substances of abuse. Julian Edelman, New England Patriots wide receiver, suspended 4 games for using a substance that helped him recover from his ACL injury faster. Mark Sanchez, Chicago Bears quarterback, suspended 4 games for violating the league's performance-enhancing drugs policy, blamed it on accidental exposure. Ezekiel Elliott, a Dallas Cowboys running back, suspended 6 games for alleged domestic violence and crude behavior. Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, suspended for 6 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. Now I would like to talk about 2 very recent suspensions exclusively.
I am told the parameters are in fact in place to send Miami Dolphins pass rusher Robert Quinn to the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys got a 28-year-old pass rusher, 8.5 sacks last year, still in his prime, a big addition to their defense.
The first one is Robert Quinn, a defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys. He will be forced to miss the first 2 games of the 2019-2020 season for violating the policy on performance enhancement drugs. His agent Sean Kiernan was very disappointed in the NFL for following through with this suspension. Robert has had a history with seizures, which requires him to take multiple doses of preventative medication daily. He failed a test on April 2nd under the NFL steroid policy for a substance called probenecid, which is a masking agent. Kiernan stated, "He does not take any supplements and took nothing else during this period that would create a positive test for probenecid. In fact, he had no idea what probenecid was or what it was used for." Probenecid was used to mask drugs back in the 80s and 90s. His doctor said that he had only seen it in one other player in his 30-year career, so it was perplexing to him. Probenecid is not commonly filled, so it is their belief that his seizure medication could have been contaminated. If it was used as a masking agent for steroids, the dose would have had to been 500 to 2,000 milliliters. Robert tested at 0.17 and 0.34 nanograms per milliliters of probenecid. Kiernan stated, "I have been working with NFL players for 20 years, and I can't think of a situation where I've been personally involved where the league was as tone deaf as it was here. Now, Rob will be punished for something that would have been impossible for him to prevent, and even though the NFL admitted during the hearing that it did not believe Rob was intentionally doping, they still suspend him."
I mean, the experts and everyone stated what they had to say. I mean, the data kind of proves itself, and at this point, it ain't gonna change nothing. What's gonna happen is gonna happen, and just gotta look forward to what I can do. So, frustrating situation. We did what we had to do to defend, me, and just it is what it is.
And now Robert Quinn first breaks his hand, and they say, well, he's having surgery, but Stephen Jones says, we think he's going to still be ready for opening Sunday. But to your point, you're going to play with a big old cast on your hand, and it's not great because you can't
Great grab.
And then on top of that, he's now suspended for 2 games for something that you just have to know about. His agent is arguing, well, he had to take medication because he's had seizures before. Okay, God bless him.
Skip.
But there's some agent in some medicine that he was prescribed that is a boosting agent, masking agent, not boosting. It's a masking agent.
Yes.
You just have to know that. And if you do know that and you're ahead of the curve, you can ask for clearance on that, and maybe you get it. I don't know, maybe.
Absolutely.
The second is a child abuse case involving Tyreek Hill, a wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. The case was reopened after a TV show broadcast an audio recording in which Hill and his fiancée discussed injuries to their 3-year-old son. Police were called to the Hill home twice and determined that the child had been injured. The prosecutor, Johnson County District Attorney Steve Howe, said he would not file charges against Hill or Espinal, even though his office believed a crime had occurred. He said available evidence did not establish who hurt the child. A day later, KCTV in Kansas City aired an 11-minute audio file. Espinal tells Hill that earlier in the year, when the injured boy was asked who hurt him, he replied, "Daddy did it." Hill denied any role in what happened to the child, saying, "Daddy does a lot of things." Espinal also tells Hill that their son is terrified of you. Hill replies, "You need to be terrified of me too, b****." Later, Espinal asks Hill, "What do you do when the child is bad?" "You make him open up his arms and you punch him in the chest." A week after the NFL said that they would not suspend Hill, he reported to Chiefs training camp.
And like to all the fans, you know what I'm saying, Clark Hunt, Coach Reed, Veach, and my teammates, my family, my teammates being my family, you know what I'm saying, I just want to thank them, you know what I'm saying, for the support, you know what I'm saying. I'm very appreciative of all of those guys for being in my life, you know what I'm saying, especially, my teammates, man, like, you know what I'm saying, like they stayed on me during the whole offseason, week workout, you know what I'm saying, steady showing me love, steady doing everything, you know what I'm saying. So I'm very appreciative of everybody in my life right now, you know what I'm saying. So I can't wait for my new journey, man. I'm excited, you know what I'm saying. I'm working every day, you know what I'm saying, to be a better father, better person, a better citizen, a better teammate, you know what I'm saying, and a better son too, you know what I'm saying, to my parents. So I'm evolving.
They spent 8 hours in late June interviewing Hill about the case.
The meeting was definitely long. It was probably the longest meeting ever of my life, so it was crazy. So what I wanted to get across was really just facts, man, but I really can't get into it.
The Johnson County, Kansas District Attorney said that they would not charge Hill because they're unsure how the boy sustained his injuries. In a statement, the NFL said, "Based on the evidence presently available, the NFL cannot conclude that Mr. Hill violated the personal conduct policy. He has been and will continue to be subject to conditions set forth by the District Court Commissioner Roger Goodell and the Chiefs, which include clinical evaluation and therapeutic intervention."
His response to her was not what I think a response should have been. Says, "Well, you should be afraid of me also."
Terrified.
Yeah. I thought that in and of itself, but I could get it, Skip. And plus, the fact of the matter is, a 3-year-old ended up with a broken arm. That's what we know. And from it didn't sound like it happened at the playground. And then you listen to what he said to her. I guess the NFL could have viewed that as a threat. But this is also why I believe the NFL needs to get out of this business. Not the NFL, but Roger Goodell.
Punching my son in my chest, that would probably refer me teaching my son how to box. Because we do got boxing gloves at our house. And our son, he's like Iron Man. So he loves Iron Man, Aquaman. He's like, "Daddy, come on," all the time. So that's what it is, man. And, you know, sometimes things get thrown out of context, you know, when feelings get involved and emotions. But I ain't going to get into all that right now. So thank you, guys. I love you. Cheetah back, man. Thank you for the support. Chiefs Kingdom, man, I love you. Like I said, I'm going as a person each and every day. You know what I'm saying? And for the reporters, man, hey, my story is crazy. It's going to be somebody's testimony one day. I'm telling y'all.
So do you think the league suspension rulings are fair? This has been Kamryn Schoenberger for Tribe Broadcasting.